Hello, today we look at a game played between myself and Robert Benben. Robert was 1882, and this is my second round game in the Michigan Class Championships. I should say before I show you this game that this is quite possibly my luckiest game of chess ever. Not to give away the outcome or anything, but we'll go ahead and play through the moves that happen in the game here. And there'll be a point in the opening where I'm going to stop and just talk briefly about why I played the move I did as quickly as I did. And then I'll let you figure out why it was so horrible. So we'll just go through a few more moves here. And we're getting close. Okay, so I don't even know how long, but for a very long time I kept thinking as soon as he presses with c5, my instant reaction was going to be bishop to a3. So as a coach, I guess I should say, maybe here you should pause the video and just think about why that is just an absolutely horrible idea in this position and why bishop to a3 should not have been considered. But yet my hand, after thinking about this for so long, instantly picked up that bishop and put it on a3. And my opponent, almost lightning fast, because of how easy it is to calculate, played pawn takes pawn, threatening my rook and my bishop at the same time. I played bishop takes bishop, pawn takes rook. The next move here was he played rook takes rook here first, and after my queen captured, then he took on e3, and then took with the queen with check, and my king went to h2. So in this position, it's safe to say white's pretty busted here. Things are pretty rough. He plays rook to c8, my queen moves, and we'll just go through a few more moves here. And in this position in particular, he plays knight takes f3, but he could have considered there instead the move bishop to f1, where there's a bit of an overload on the pieces because the knight on d2 couldn't capture, because then the knight on f3 would fall with check, and just a horrible position. So essentially right here I'm already busted, but we'll keep playing through these moves. So knight takes, bishop to e2, and here I play bishop to g5, and I expected him to maybe play his queen into f2 and keep the attack on the c, bring the rook into c2 and basically just finish me off. I'm only playing here because of how badly Michael Smith had beat me in the first round, and I was thinking I don't want to lose my first two games of this tournament without a fight, so I'm just sticking around right now. But suddenly Robert here played queen to c3 and offered the exchange of queens, so still clearly better, but much less far ahead in the game after the exchange of queens. So I play my knight up and bishop to d3, and then I bring my bishop in. So now I've got both bishops down the exchange. Life is rough, believe me, but it's not as bad as it was, because at least I'm not seeing myself getting mated everywhere. So rook retreats, and I begin pushing these pawns more as just a way to maybe try to deflect him from what he's doing, so I might be able to get some sort of positive action going in this game. So knight retreats, back to d4, and here we see my king kind of slowly centralize. I'm just trying to stay in the game, though. There's really not much more than just trying to survive and maybe tie or finish without it being too bad. We both briefly looked at this position, my opponent and I, and much like I was thinking in the game, I think he considers that if the knight comes into e7, there's a possible mate there, but of course the king could go to h8, so an unnecessary move, rook to e8 here, but it was played in the game. So then I brought my knight back to guard that b3 pawn, and again I'm just trying to do anything I can to stay in this game. So I play the pawn forward to get him thinking about something, hopefully. And then here's when things got kind of interesting, because what should have happened here? We'll look in a second. So after right here. So when he plays bishop to d3 to support that e4 pawn, he essentially just gave me 3 pawns. Like, let's look at this. So after knight takes, the move f5 I thought was a good idea, just to support e4 and not allow me to get all 3 pawns, but I get all these pawns very quickly, and at the end of getting these pawns I actually threaten right now knight to d6 check, forking the king and rook, and my opponent sees this threat and plays the knight into c4, and then I go for another threat in the position, which is knight to g5 check, where my bishop then has a discovery on the rook. So that's what I played in the game, and here my opponent resigned. So a very odd game, a bizarre game, if you will, and a very fortunate win for me in the second round to put me at 1 out of 2 for the first 2 rounds of the class championships this year. And we'll look at the next game in a minute. I just thought I'd share this one with you. I don't think there's a whole lot that you necessarily can take from this game in terms of the way that I played the position, other than if you are in a position where you're behind, don't resign too early. Make sure you go ahead and make your opponent earn the win. So in this case, I was fortunate enough to be able to turn the result around completely, but I was really just hoping for a draw. Hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to seeing you soon.